stream is cleared for takeoff.
All right, we're live. Hi, everyone. Hello, everyone joining us here Wednesday morning. We have 3 lovely guests, 1 you've seen before and 2 brand new. This is very exciting for us. This is our very first SDK Q&A. We thought it would be really important and interesting to do this type of stream, so we hope everyone gets something out of it and is also prepared with some questions. I'd love to introduce everyone here. First of all, I'm Jane. I'm a community manager here at Microsoft Flight Simulator, and we'll go ahead and have everyone introduce who they are, starting with the left, who you've probably seen before, Jorg.
Hi everyone, super excited to be here. I'm Jorg, I'm the head of Flight Sim.
Yes, and in the middle, new face, we have Alyzée, Arfel.
Yes, hello everybody. I'm Alyzée. I'm the new producer for the SDK, and I joined the team in January, so 4 months ago.
Awesome, glad to have you. Last but not least, we have Eric.
Hi, so I'm Eric. I'm a lead SDK developer on Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I joined the team nearly 2 years ago.
Awesome. And yes, we're already getting comments. They are in the same room, hence the masks.
Yeah, sorry for this.
No problems there. Yeah. And, you know, if anyone, maybe if the mask is too much or if you can't hear something, just ask us to repeat it. We'll be sure to speak as clearly as we can, obviously, so everyone can hear and participate. But let's go ahead and get started, I think. I'll start this off by passing it to you, Jorg. I know you have a few things you want to say first before we kick this off.
Well, I say this a lot when we have community streams, which I love, by the way, and it's thank you. And for those of you, I think a lot of you probably are developers. It is really making our life so exciting that you are there, and it's been amazing to see the output. I look every day what you make. I download or buy just about everything that has ever been created, and I check it out, and it's just awesome stuff. So it's a real honor and privilege that we are a platform that you develop for. So thank you very much. This community chats is actually one of my highlights of any of my weeks whenever we have them. And what I really love about them is I feel like they're really open and transparent, and that we can just have a chat. And hopefully we can carry that from our typical community chat into this one. And there are some questions that I think Jane has already collected, and then there's already going to be a live Q&A. This particular one today, you know, we are making progress on Xbox. So there's some questions that we hear from people, and so we themed this. Hey, if you have any questions about Xbox, this would be a good time to ask them, and Eric and Alyzée can answer just about everything. But there's also other things. We know there's lots of things that have something to do with the SDK. So let's just talk. Anyways, that was it for my intro.
Nice, thanks, Jorg. And yes, obviously we want today to be focused on the SDK. So we do ask that questions are related to that. I'm sure there's a lot more other questions outside the SDK, but we'll do our best to kind of focus in on that. So to get started, Alyzée, I know you have something to present you wanted to talk about first, so I'll go ahead and bring up the PowerPoint here.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I prepared a PowerPoint because I wanted to let you know more about the SDK, about how we work. So first of all, welcome and thank you very much for attending this session. We are very excited to meet you today for this first SDK Q&A session. Hopefully it won't be the last. I think we will do more regularly because you know, today we decided to focus on Xbox, but maybe tomorrow we'll talk about aircraft, airports. The SDK is big, so we have so much to talk about. You know that the Xbox version is coming this summer, so it's a big opportunity for content creators, and we are going to do our best to help you get your content ready for this new platform. We have to mention the new documentation website. I think you saw that before, but we have this brand new documentation website which is live. You can find it on docs.flightsimulator.com. It keeps on being improved every day. We have a tech writer who is working on that. On the question that you asked, some of you guys wanted more documentation on specific topics. This is every of these questions are now in the writer's backlog. So we won't answer those questions today, but you can make sure that we will add details about that on the documentation. We will do it, and it's on the backlog already. Also, we have a big announcement about the way we help you with your questions. Today, you have a forum, a private section on the forum, and we believe we could do better about that. So we have decided to archive this private section of the forum, and we replaced it by a question and answers platform. So we have chosen Answer Hub, the platform that is used by Unreal, for example. We have decided to create a platform here to help you get answers to your question. You will be able to ask your questions to see if they've been asked before, maybe to answer somebody's question if you know how to help. And we will have our new tech QA guy monitoring this platform every day. So he will bring you a support on the questions, because I believe we have to apologize here. We have a long answers delay when we answer. It's very complicated for us to track every of your questions and to find answers. So you have to believe that we are doing our best to improve that and to improve the support that we bring to the community.
Alyzée, there's a question that I think is worth even
sure.
Is this new platform also available for freeware developers?
I think it's open to everybody, actually. Everybody will be able to come to the platform to ask their questions and to see if someone already had the same problem and to see how they sort it out. It's open for everybody, just like the documentation platform.
That's awesome. So since right now the third-party section is private on forums, it'll move to this public space. That's great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yes, the forum will be archived, and you'll have to ask your questions on the new platform from now on. But you have to check first on the documentation if the answer is not already written here, Okay. About the documentation, while we are on it, we have a new Xbox page on the documentation, which you can already visit. This is where we gather all the Xbox related information. Basically, today we have advice on how to optimize the memory usage, how to improve your airports to make them fit in an Xbox. We advise you to check this webpage regularly because we keep on improving it. We will very soon add a video, for example, of our lead artist. He will give you advice on how to prepare your airport and how to optimize your airports. So stay tuned. Like we said before, and like we like to say, the SDK is big, but the team is not. Today, we are actually 8 people working full-time on the SDK. And among those 8 people, we have 5 new person actually who arrived in the past month. We have 1 producer, that should be me. We have 1 tech writer, like I mentioned before. He is completely dedicated to improving the documentation, and he does that really, really well. We had 1 tech QA who arrived a few weeks ago. So this guy will be in charge of the support, like I said, on the Q&A platform. You will probably be in touch with him very often. And he's also in charge of, checking the dev mode and making sure that we reach the quality that we aim at. And we also have 3 software developers coming. 1 is coming soon, I think in May. Yeah. And this will help us work more, for example, on the SimConnect and the WebAssembly questions. Because lately we just didn't have the resources to do that. So that brings the team to 8 people. And we also have Eric here, who recently became the lead engine programmer. So
lead engine programmer and lead SDK developer.
And lead SDK developer.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Another point, we will focus on the development of the new features on the sim updates from now on. we used to provide you with new features on world updates and on sim updates. We believe there is a better way to do that. So we are going to only push new features on every sim update, but we wish to improve the beta program so that you can get builds early and help us, control that everything is fine and that your content is working properly. So I don't know, Jorg, if you want to comment that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's, some people always think, and I tried to explain it last time, that there's sim updates and world updates, and there's other things we're doing, obviously. And the world updates, it's a very separate effort from the sim itself. And sometimes we blend it a little, and sometimes we put some code into the world update that ends up not being thoroughly tested enough. And I think many of you, almost everybody, has suffered from that. So I think we're going to be more disciplined about it. That's basically the thing. So we're putting code out with sim updates, which is where they belong, and there's going to be a significantly longer testing period where everybody can make sure that once it comes out to the greater audience, it all works, all the add-ons work. So I think this is a net win for everybody involved. So that's the whole goal, obviously.
Yeah, indeed. So what we plan to work on next is first the visual effects editor. I know you've been waiting for it, and we've been working for it for quite a long time. It's almost ready. I know we said that a lot, but this time it's true. It's coming on the next update. Mm-hmm. So you will be able to create your own visual effects. We even prepared a video tutorial to help you get started with that. Next, I would like us to work to improve the scenery editor because it's very, very used. It's a tool that many people use every day, and it needs to be improved, including the exclusions that you asked on the questions. We are going to work on that. When I say very soon, it's like for summer, I think we'll start. Yeah. And like I mentioned, we have this new guy joining the team next month, and hopefully we'll be able to task him on SimConnect and on WebAssembly related stuff. So we know that you have lots of requests about SimConnect, mm-hmm. about WebAssembly. So we will soon be able to provide the answers on this topic. And I think that's it.
That's it for...
That's it for my PowerPoint. Okay. I just have a nice picture at the end, but otherwise I'm done.
Perfect. Thanks, Alyzée. So with all that in mind, we went into the forums a couple weeks ago and we gathered some questions from some of our modders and creators. We wanted them to be, we have some Xbox themed ones here that we're going to start with and then probably get into some other ones. But one of the first questions that was asked regarding Xbox is, considering the Xbox version of the sim will run on DX12, which kind of issues should we be aware of in relationship to resource usage?
Okay, so that's probably a question more for me. Well, you shouldn't expect any specific issue when we switch to DX12. Really, everything that is resource related is handled by the engine. So we will hide the tricky part from you. So for you, it shouldn't change anything. DX12 won't change anything, be it for the Xbox or later on for the PC. I think this goes slightly deeper. I think what people wonder is how they're going to, how they're going to fit their add-on into the Xbox, because obviously mm-hmm. a lot of simmers these days are using beefy PCs with lots of RAM, lots of disk space and everything. Mm-hmm. Those resources are a bit more limited on a console. So what we're doing here is we are making sure that when the console cannot load any more things, more objects, more textures or anything, well, we prevent it from loading those things. So an add-on that is really huge and that really on the PC takes gigs and gigs of RAM will automatically be not scaled down, but perhaps a bit cut on the console if we reach the upper limit of anything like RAM or things like that. So of course, people won't like the idea of those add-ons being cut like that. So they'll ask us how can we design our add-ons so that they fit on Xbox. So what we are doing right now, we have several people working on a profiling tool that will be included in the PC version, and that will allow you to know a lot more about the footprint of your add-on. And with that in mind, and the guidelines we'll put on the documentation that Alyzée mentioned before, you'll be able to design your add-on so that it fits fine on an Xbox. So that's the idea. The thing is that, as you know, CMOs usually use dozens of add-ons at the same time. So then there's this question of, but if I want to run 10, 20 add-ons on my Xbox, will it fit? So that's where the first part of what I said kicks in, which means that if there's not enough RAM not enough RAM, it's mainly not enough RAM, then the console will warn you and will stop loading additional stuff. So that's the kind of tool we're going to offer to people. But regarding the X12, really, it's pure engine thing, and so it will really be hidden from the third-party developers.
Okay, and with that said, will products that won't have any chance to run on the Xbox for some reason, either if it's too high detail, too high textures, memory requirements high, will that be allowed to be sold on the marketplace, and will it be labeled as Windows only?
Yep, that's the plan. I mean, we are not going to force anybody to do anything. Like we are. I mean, we're first party, right? So we will present everything that Asobo makes or other partners make on all platforms where we launch. But it's a free world. You can opt in. I mean, I personally think the opportunity for flight simming in general is probably unprecedented, because flight simming has never been on consoles, and we know there's hundreds of millions of people on consoles. So we'll see. Hopefully we can convert many of them to become simmers and to join the hobby. We don't know. But yeah, it's completely opt-in. So hopefully you opt in, because I think it's going to be a good experience. And I think it's the newcomers that come through Xbox, I think will enjoy all your work. But yeah, it's optional.
Yeah, you can already see it in the project editor. You have a new kind of feature. You can flag if the content you're preparing is going to be sell on Xbox, on PC, or both. It's up to you. Just so you know, all the content created by Asobo goes to PC and Xbox. We don't separate things. All of our content goes to Xbox as well as PC. We don't make a difference. This being said, we really believe that this Xbox version is going to be a big opportunity for you content creators, because we have so many people who just won't buy a very powerful PC because they don't feel like it, because they don't want to. But these people, they will still buy Flight Simulator, and I think it's a new type of player, and they will probably be interested in your content, in what you have to offer. So they will probably turn into simmers when they discover the sim, because it's going to be awesome, even on Xbox. So we just encourage you, to adapt your content for the Xbox, and maybe to start creating stuff for the Xbox as well.
Yeah, I mean, chances are that your content, as it really depends on the kind of content you're making, but some aircraft, as they are, already run on Xbox. Yeah. So I mean, third-party aircraft, because we can test some of them, of course, when profiling the Xbox. So really, perhaps you won't even have to do something, but keep in mind that if you need to adapt, we'll try to offer the tools that allow you to do it.
We'll have as much as we can.
Awesome. So which Xbox versions are being supported?
Oh, that's me. Well, we announced that we're launching on Xbox Series X and S this summer. That stays consistent. The team has made awesome. I cannot wait for everybody to play this version, because the optimization that has been done, and it's basically invisible to the eye. You can't really tell. It's awesome. It really is. And then I've always been very consistent that we will try to get on the Xbox One generation, which we call Generation 8. And that is work that's in progress. I can't really say anything about it yet, frankly, because we don't know 100% yet, but the desire is there. And I think philosophically on the Microsoft side, Gen 8 and Gen 9 are in many ways interoperable. So you should be able to play it. We just need to make it work. But the focus for now, for this summer, is to make it work on the shiny new Xboxes that came out last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for newer and less established third-party devs, what support do you intend to give them to get their project up and running on Xbox?
Well, like we mentioned before, we are preparing samples of optimized and non-optimized airports, so you can see the difference and adapt your content. We have the guidelines. We will do a video, an interview of the lead artist to help you get prepared. This is all available in the dedicated section in the documentation, so you can already check it out. And like Eric mentioned, we also have the memory profiling tools, which will help you determine which component of your scenery takes so many memory. Many or much? I don't know. So much memory, sorry. and optimize and work on that specifically. So I think
Can I answer that one question that just came in? So is there mouse and keyboard support on Xbox? Yes, there is. On Gen 9, mouse and keyboard are fully supported. It's not that well known, maybe, but it's also because there weren't any sims. But it totally works. So like what I have downstairs, I have my Xbox set up exactly like that. I have a joystick from Thrustmasters, I have mouse keyboard there, and my gigantic television, and I totally love it. So it's very similar in the simming. Like we don't have pedals yet and stuff like that, but it's otherwise pretty damn good. So I think you should all be looking forward to it. I know many of you are probably PC hardcore, and so is I forever and ever, but I think the Xbox version is going to delight people.
Yeah. I did see one question up there. Maybe you guys can answer this. I see it a lot in community. Do you know, will there be a SimConnect local broadcast for the Xbox install so people can access third-party tools like Volanta or Flight Events or Sim Toolkit Pro so they can hook into stuff like that?
Right now, we're still working on that. I don't think it's really been decided. I can't really say for now. But connecting from your, I guess what people mean is that there are some add-ons that are actually Windows executables and that connect to the SIM on the PC. Mm-hmm. And I think the question that I've read as well is, will we be able to connect from our Windows executable to the Xbox version on our local network? Right now, I don't think it works. I'm not sure what the status is on that. I'm not sure if we'll allow it or not. I can't say for now.
Okay. And going into more the scenery editor, I see some questions on that. Can Asobo provide airport scenery developers something in the SDK where they can exclude the AI regular passenger vehicles from the airport, like power poles and lights, stuff like that?
Yes, we had that a lot. So we already intended to create to improve the experience system. So yes, that's definitely something that was required internally as well, because we use our own tools. So we have the artists, they ask for that as well. So it's already on the roadmap for this year because we wish to work more on the scenery editor. So when the new Q&A platform goes live, feel free to ask more specifically what you want to exclude from the sceneries. This way we'll make sure that we don't forget something that you might need, maybe.
Yeah, well, actually it's really an ongoing discussion we had at the studio because we faced the same question from our people, from our artists who are doing things, and so they've asked us for that. Actually, I talked about it today with one of my colleagues, so we are looking at how we can do it. There are various options, so it will be done. There's no ETA yet, but yes, it's something that will bring, of course.
It's a promise.
Yeah.
No, we said no promises, sorry, but we will do it. Anyway.
Fair. Great question from Pellissier here, probably for you, Jorg. Are we planning on expanding the developer channel to work more closely with the teams to make sure their products will work properly before updates hit the market?
That's Sergio. Hi, Sergio. Yes, that's the exact. Maybe you missed that at the beginning. We are we're going to focus code updates basically on the sim updates. So we'll have more time. There's basically, by and large, 2 months, sometimes a little bit more in between. So we'll actually have appropriate time. If you see what's going on right now, we do an update every month, and there's code in every month. And if you really think about the branching system, how it works, we got like a few days, maybe a week, and that just doesn't give anybody enough time. So it's too frantic, and I think Asobo feels that, and third-party developers feel that. The whole goal is that everybody who's a third-party developer can get into the beta and make sure that everything works. So that's the whole point.
Yeah. So what about supporting Blender Exporter?
So we are not using Blender in-house right now. Some of our artists have asked for that, strongly asked for that. So they're big fans of Blender. So I don't know if we will provide our own official Blender exporter. We know that there are third parties who have already worked on that. We know at least 2 very good of them. So it's a question of, do we offer an official one? Do we help them completing theirs? We don't know. So we don't know if we'll include that directly into the SDK, or if we should provide all the necessary information for people to make a full-fledged Blender exporter. So that will happen. Actually, we're in contact with some of them. So yes, that's yeah. We don't know if we'll support it directly, but there will be better support for Blender.
Yeah, I wouldn't make no promise here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're talking about
But
it.
we hear it a lot. How about that? And I mean, that's why we're having these conversations, right? To be
Right.
to be listening, to be open.
Right. And it's just a question
One
in
for
chat.
Blender. They know. I keep bringing this up too.
Yeah.
We'll see.
This question's probably for you, Alyzée, from chat. What's the best way to make a suggestion or feature request to the SDK team?
I think until we have something better, the Q&A platform will be the answer for that. We want to regroup every information in one place, because we used to receive private messages on the forum. We also have topic on the forum. Sometimes we had emails, and we want to stop having these different channels and to use the Q&A platform in priority. So I think that would be the best place to post a request. We will tag them as requests, and people will be able to vote to let us know if it's important for them as well.
Okay.
And that will give some weight to the requests. So yeah, I think the Q&A platform should be the best place.
Okay. And you mentioned it'll be Answer Hub. Do we know when that's coming out?
Yeah, I think the launch is for May the 3rd. It should be live on May the 3rd, but we will keep you posted about that.
Okay.
And
Awesome.
until then, you can always write your request in the third-party forum. Until it's archived, we keep reading it.
Yeah.
I mean, I read it every day. My colleagues too, and we try to answer. So as Alyzée said, it takes some time, but yeah.
And we are really sorry about that, but we try.
Yeah.
But it's going to be better, I think, with the Answer Hub.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
So another frequently asked question, are there any plans to enable multi-threading support with WASM?
Do you want to answer?
Just my favorite answer. It's on the roadmap already, so yeah, we know about that.
No, actually, just to be a bit more technical. Yeah, the problem with WASM is that, so it's WebAssembly for those. Well, I guess everybody knows about that if you're attending this session, but WebAssembly doesn't have anything that allows you to create threads from within your module. Even Alyzée, the WebAssembly system interface, doesn't have anything to do that. So we need to come up with our own solution for this. We've worked on it already. We're still working on it. It's not an easy task, but yes, that's planned, as Alyzée said. No ETA either. We hope that this new recruit that we'll have that will arrive in May will help us accelerating the thing on that. And so yeah, that's planned. You'll get that, and but we can't tell you exactly when. Hopefully this year.
Yeah, hopefully this year. Still, not a promise, but we'll try to do it this year. Yes.
Yeah, And this isn't a question, just a comment from Two-Tone Murphy. He says, an issue in the gaming sphere is that most studios port a console version over to PC. This is the opposite. I think PC users know to max everything out, PC is the way, but having a console version that'll be optimized will be awesome. It'll bring so many new people to our hobby and make it so accessible. Thanks for that comment, Murph. I think we definitely agree.
Actually, it's something that came to my mind when Jorg mentioned all the optimizations that were done by other teams at Asobo regarding the Xbox version. I mean, it's not really the call to talk about this. It's probably the general one, but all those optimizations made for Xbox will benefit the PC version as well.
Sure.
So, yeah.
And this is, by the way, a build we're intending to flight. Like this is one that needs flighting because there was a lot of code changes. So we'll talk about it. We don't have an exact date yet, but a lot of people that say, hey, is there going to be an Xbox flight? Well, it is a good question if that Xbox flight is going to be on PC first, because that branch is what's important, the actual code that was written. So, but we'll get into this more. Yep.
Okay.
There were some other questions, Jane. I don't know. I'm sometimes worried that we're missing some of these questions. So maybe Monica.
Yeah, I mean, I did see one here, such as, is there a new workaround to implement custom objects into Microsoft Flight Simulators?
A new workaround? It really depends on what kind of custom objects we're referring to. But
sure, if you can expand on that cursing broom, we'll get to that question soon. But another question I see here is, will there be profiling tools similar to Xplane profiling tool that could help third-party creators to troubleshoot performance issues?
Well, there are two answers to that.
Okay.
One is the memory profiling tool we mentioned just before, when we said it will allow people to adapt their Xbox content, their content to Xbox, sorry. That can also be used to monitor what's taking memory on the PC. Another topic might be WASM modules, actually. It's true that we don't have direct timing of them right now. So perhaps we should add something about it. It's not planned yet. We can think about it. There's also the JavaScript side of things for those who are doing HTML instruments, even if that's not documented enough yet, and of course that's planned. But so one thing is that we'll ship the coherent debugger, which will allow you to connect to your HTML instruments and debug them as if you were debugging any website with any browser. So you will have access to that, and there are some profiling elements in there that you can use as well. So that's the kind of things we're thinking of and that we'll bring to you in the future.
In a close future.
Well, yeah, the current debugger, it's in the very close future.
Can I pick a question that I saw a while ago? It's sort of scrolled by already, but it's kind of, I think it's an important one. Somebody was asking, hey, all the add-ons that are already bought on the PC, are they going to show up on Xbox? And I think that's a completely fair question. I don't know, Eric, if you want to answer this, at least
if they, you mean if they will show, if they will appear in the store, or if they will be owned by the person who has already bought it on PC?
I think the question was the latter. I think it's both, obviously. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to get it if it's not in the store.
Yeah, of course. Well, to be honest, it's more a question for the marketplace side of.
I'm not 100% sure. I believe the plan is, first off, a third party like yourselves need to go opt in. But we are giving what we call entitlements. When you buy something somewhere, you get it on both. So I don't think you can charge people twice. And I personally don't think that would be right either. So if somebody basically plays, because frankly, when you own Flight Sim on PC right now, you will own it on Xbox. You don't have to buy it again. Like that's not how this works. And the same is true for add-ons. But I'll pick this one. I'll double check with the business team on this, but I believe that's the case.
Technically it depends if you have two separate add-ons, because there's one dedicated to PC, one dedicated to Xbox, as we explained earlier on, they may have different entitlements, but I'm sure we can find something. If the idea is that you buy it once and you use it on both platforms, there must be ways to do it. So.
I think once we get an answer on that, we will add it on the Xbox documentation page so that it's clear for people.
Yeah, I think to answer that question that just came in, even for Steam users, I don't think that's right. So I think Steam is separate. It's a completely separate package. We can so Microsoft can only basically do it this what we call this roaming entitlement. We can only do it on the platforms we own. So this basically the Windows 10, Windows Store, and then Xbox, and then future probably xCloud once we get there. But Steam is separate, so no, it doesn't work with Steam.
Yeah.
Okay.
More general question: do we know if once it's out on Xbox, will updates run with the PC and Xbox at the same time, or will they be independent of each other?
I mean, as far as we're concerned, that should be the same code base, but it doesn't mean that the deployment will be simultaneous between the two platforms. I guess it will have to be decided. It's not really SDK related, but I think it will have to be decided between Microsoft and the publishing team at Asobo, I guess.
So is there a roadmap for improvement plans for Coherent GT engine?
Yes. Well, the first thing is what we mentioned just before, bringing the Coherent debugger to everyone, so that everyone can find the issues within their add-ons within Coherent. Then what we're working on right now at a more internal level, we're looking at how garbage collection is performed in JavaScript in Coherent. We're talking to Coherent about it, and we're looking at that ourselves. So yes, there are plans to improve things.
Yeah.
There are even plans to change the way we do instruments and things like that. I mean, it would be very technical, but there are lots of things we're looking at that should improve the performance of the HTML instruments.
We don't have a clear roadmap on when these improvements will be available. We just know that the current developer part is coming soon. But for the rest, we can't say exactly when it will arrive. We just work on it.
Actually, it's not directly, so it's Coherent, so it's used by the SDK, but it's more the engine team, which we're part of as well, but it's more the engine team that focuses on that kind of thing. The SDK team is really focused on the building the SDK and the tools and everything. And that specific part is slightly more engine directed.
Yeah, and Cybernetic is asking where you can see the roadmap. I believe that's our SDK roadmap that we put on our dev updates once in a while. Yeah. You can find there. Every time we have an update to it, we usually release it in those Thursday dev updates.
Yeah.
So some comments here. Can we talk about DLLs?
Okay. So I guess the idea is why do you use WebAssembly, and why don't we have access to our good old DLLs? Well, the main reason for that, the very first reason for that, is security. When you ship a DLL, you never know exactly what it's going to access, what it's going to do. I mean, we've seen things deployed as DLLs and being questionable. The thing is that WASM is sandboxed. So when Microsoft sells add-ons through its marketplace, its store, it wants to ensure that what it sells is safe for its customers. And with its sandboxing, WASM allows that, really. It's also a good way to port legacy applications or legacy add-ons that were developed in C++. I know some people are using Rust to develop flight sim add-ons. You can do that as well. The nice thing is that WASM is a target that you can use with a lot of different source languages, so that's interesting as well. But for those people who had a lot of legacy code base and they wanted to still benefit from it on Flight Simulator, Microsoft Flight Simulator, WASM was a natural way of doing things. So we know there are some shortcomings, such as no direct access to the GPU, or it can be tricky to use when you relied on other third-party DLLs, you cannot use them anymore, obviously. These are things we're still working on. So We are trying to improve the platform. We believe some people have demonstrated that WASM is a perfectly viable solution, even if at first perhaps there were doubts about it. There are still things to do, but we're working on that, and we hope to improve what you can do with the platform.
Yeah, speaking of WASM, so in the last World Update, the WASM was also updated, and it resulted in long loading times for modules using it. Is there a plan to improve this behavior to reduce loading times for it?
There are several things. Well, yeah, we're trying. Well, I think the real issue for this call, really, from the third-party developers' point of view, the issue we found with WASM is iteration times, which means if you have a fairly complex add-on and you recompile it, then of course it produces one single WASM, and this single WASM can take a few minutes to get recompiled and to a DLL and to get loaded in the SIM. So yes, we're trying to improve on that. We have ideas to do only partial recompiling and things like this. It's not working yet. It's work going on. It's work in progress. Sorry. So we'll try to improve that. Yeah.
Okay. And
but I don't think.
Oh, sure.
Jane, sorry. I'm not sure the latest update made compilation slower. So, and perhaps it was. I haven't read about it, but it shouldn't. Right. To be honest, we haven't changed anything in the last update regarding how WASM is loaded into the SIM, but yeah, we never know. But I don't think it's the case.
Are there any plans to deliver more on the living world, such as the ability for people to add in steam or smoke or birds and animals via the SDK?
There's all kinds of plans for the living world, but yeah. I would say it hasn't popped. How about this? Like on the we just this morning, just for what it's worth, Seb, Martial, David, and I spent 2.5 hours looking at the feedback snapshot, and you'll get a new version tomorrow. Jane is going to put it on the website. It's not on there, and we expanded the feedback snapshot to 48 items, right? Because we wanted to go a little bit deeper into the things that really are important. As some people know, I love animals and all kinds of other stuff, and I would love nothing more than to add more things to the living world. But I think, however much it pains me, maybe personally, I think there are some bigger fish to fry. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's not a good thing to say, but there's some other things we need to do first before we do this. But long term, yeah, we want to make this as awesome a world as you can possibly make. So there's no question we'll do it. It's just not this year.
I mean, for what it's worth, the SDK has a sample to show you how you can add bears to the SIM. Mm-hmm. So you could, as a third-party developer, you could add anything you want, any animal you want in the SIM. So maybe it's not documented enough or not well documented. We'll have to check that. I thought it was, but yeah. So as third-party developers, you can already do that in principle. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've certainly seen some mods that add in certain animals, so definitely possible there.
Cool.
Yeah, it is. So can you talk about your plans to improve dev mode?
Yeah, it's uneasy to answer shortly, but we've talked a lot about Xbox today because the Xbox is coming soon, and we want to help you get ready for this big new adventure. However, that doesn't mean we stopped working on the dev mode and on the SDK. Like we mentioned before, we have new people in the team. We have our own tech QA, new developers. So we'll keep on working on the dev mode and improving it. Mm-hmm. It takes time. And we have to take it piece by piece because, as you know, I'm going to say it one more time, but it's true. The SDK is really big. We have lots of tools. We have lots of, different stuff and features. And when you arrive in the team, it can be huge. I mean, it was very frightening for me when I arrived here. But we'll keep on improving it. Here today, we're working on the visual effects. It's a new tool for you. But tomorrow we'll improve the scenery editor, which you've been working on for a month now. And still we have so much to do to make it even easier to use. After that, I don't know which, I mean, I know, but I'm not going to announce it today, but I know what we will work on next. So we have so many things to improve in the dev mode, and just because the Xbox is coming doesn't mean that we lower our efforts on the dev mode and SDK.
Actually, SDK and dev mode teams are separate. So the fact that we've added a checkbox in one of the tools in the project editor to say, hey, I want to export to Xbox.
That was easy.
But yeah, it's not exactly what has taken us a very long time. So we've been working on other things, such as the FX editor that Alyzée has announced, other things that haven't been announced yet. Also fixing stuff, listening to your feedback and trying to make things easier to use. I mean, even internally, those new people who came in that Alyzée mentioned, the first thing we ask them to do is use the dev mode and tell us what you think about it. And sometimes we get feedbacks that are like the ones we can read in the forum. So why does it work like this? It's different to this tool which I'm used to, and things like this. So we try to improve all the existing tools, but we have a lot of new things coming.
On our plates. And so we have a lot to develop, of course, but there is also something that we are trying to improve on a daily basis. It's the documentation. We've talked about it, but sometimes it can be complicated to use the SDK and to properly use and develop on the different tools. So we are putting lots of efforts on the documentation. We have Mark, our tech writer. He spends a lot of time to adding GIF. I mean, animated videos to help you really understand how to use the tool. And we are also creating video tutorials, and we will do more and more, I think, to help you with that, because we cannot develop and improve everything today, but we can try at least today to work on documentation and to bring you a more efficient support. This being said, you can use the new Q&A platform. I mean, it's not live for now, but in a couple of weeks it will be. Please use it to send us your requests very precisely, so that we know exactly what you need, which part you want us to improve first. We talked about the exclusion, for example. This is just one point. We have so many other things to work on. So please post that and let us know what you need. Remember to vote for the request that you want us to work on in priority, and hopefully we will improve the dev mode.
So I think I think this is planned for 60 minutes today, just to keep an eye on time. So we have 5 minutes left.
Yes.
I think there's a couple of questions that we should try to give quick answers to. So I see there was a question about, I think, mirror textures again. So we need to go, and frankly, we had talking about this today in more detail. Remember the livery application has been on the SDK, has been on the feedback snapshot for a while. Eric, do you have any specific insight here, or do we want to postpone this to next time?
This one I'll have to check with who's handling it, because I think it's not direct. Well, although it's SDK linked, but I think the issue lies within. I'll have to check. I'm not sure. I don't think it's exactly linked to the tools themselves, so I'll have to double check. But I've read it. Yeah, I thought it was taken care of, to be honest. But it's like it's
no, I think people would like to do the FSX style application where they just paint the textures, and it's not really working the same anymore because it's all shaders. But we should prepare for that. And then another question I saw multiple times was about animation support. There it is. So plan to expand the functionality. Doors,
Yeah, this is planned. Yeah, we know there's so I guess it's linked to the model behaviors and how they work and things like this, and how animations are done in there. So yes, we are. I thought there was already documentation on that in principle, but we'll have to check if it's not good enough. If that's what they're meaning about animations. I don't know if you've got more detail in the chat or not. But...
No, let's just jump around a little bit. Is it, Jay, do you want to read these? I'm sorry, I should not do this.
Quick question. Dev mode's hard to use with a game resolution, which isn't the native resolution of the output monitor. Are there plans to fix that?
I'm not sure I understood the question.
Yeah, not sure either.
Okay. If we could get clarification on that question, see if we can answer it.
Let me check. I'm looking at the chat as we speak. It's a bug, render scale don't work with dev mode. Is that what you were?
Double checking here. Oh, we do have a good question here from Raja, which is, do we have any information on the visual docking guidance system?
Not yet. I don't think so.
I don't think you have yet.
Okay.
No. That's to be done.
This is one of those things. Please put it on that new answer hub. We don't know enough about it. Like I honestly, as I said, I spent my entire morning looking at the feedback snapshot. I didn't see it, and we went. So what we do is we click on the link and literally read through everything just to make sure that we're fully in your headspace. And that one we just didn't get to. So I'll look for it, but we did not discuss it. So it's under discussed at this point on our side.
It says if the render scale is not set to 100, everything is misaligned. So the dev mode doesn't know about render scale.
Okay. I think I see the issue. Okay, we'll have to check that.
Okay.
Xbox beta release date. I just want to, because I see it like constantly. Like we don't know. I mean, I can tell you just the quickest of updates, but we need to be careful because this is really an SDK meeting and we should treat it as such. Xbox port has been going awesome, but we're smoothing the experience. It's no longer really on the technical side where most of the work is. It's on the experience side to make sure everything is really great, and we're not going to release it before it's great. It's as simple as that. So therefore, as the team makes progress and as everybody's confidence goes to green, then we'll talk about a release date. But before that, it's silly, right? We are very proud of the quality of the sim, and I think hopefully you appreciate the quality of the sim, and we want to keep that. So rushing to market is not what we're doing. And so the whole thing with the beta, it really just depends on when do we think it's even halfway good. So we need further input and broader input, and we're not quite there yet.
Right. And we did ask, when's the next dev Q&A? That'll be mid to late May.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we just have a couple minutes left here. So I think hopefully we answered a lot of the questions you had. Here, let's just do one more here because I'm seeing it in the chat. Can we talk just a little bit about the flight model and improvements to that for the SDK?
So, on specific topics regarding improvements, not exactly, but we've heard a lot about people questioning the flight model, wanting to replace it too. So at this stage, what we'd like to do is really take your feedback and improve the flight model as it is, to make it as good as possible so that everyone is happy with it. So right now the SDK is not planning to let you override the flight model, and really the idea is to improve it so that it reaches the status that we are all looking for.
Also, if I may add a comment, our flight model was developed with the help of actual pilots. So there is a real expertise here, but we know it can be complicated to fully exploit, and this is why we will try to give you more documentation about how to really adapt the flight model instead of, like you said, allowing you to override. That's not where we want to go for now. We are confident with the quality of our flight model today. But we know it can be very complex, and we will specifically work on that, on improvements on that. This being said, if you have issues with the flight model, we will need the details on that. We will need to know exactly what's wrong and what are you trying to do, so we can help and give you guidance on how to go where you want with our flight model. So please feel free once again to ask your questions on the Q&A platform, which I remind will be live on the beginning of May, probably May the 3rd. And it will be on the specific website. We don't know the URL yet, but as soon as we know, we'll keep you posted in every possible way. So yeah, on the flight model, we know we have improvements to do to make it easier to understand, but we also need your feedback specifically on what's complicated for you about the flight model.
Certainly. All right, we are at time, so just want to thank Jorg, Alyzée, and Eric for coming on the show today to answer some questions. Most likely we'll do this again soon, but is there anything that anyone wants to say before we close out?
I want to say thank you as always, and I mean it. I look 500 people spending time with us. It's a lot more than I thought. So we had little bets going how many people would actually show up. And I
win
lost.
The bet.
I lost badly, and Jane. I mean, just keep the conversation going. I mean, I think the thing we talked about the frequency of these, and I think frequency to me has a lot to do with usefulness. So I would say communicate how useful this was and how frequent you would like these. I mean, I think monthly is probably the fastest we can and really should go, given just that the team needs to develop stuff. But there's nothing is set in stone. So please just tell us and we'll listen. And as always, we'll be here.
Yep, absolutely. I'm sure I'll get a post open on the forums to collect some feedback from everyone. So chat, thank you so much for asking your questions and for participating in the stream today. We will see you soon, and I hope everyone has a safe and happy weekend. All right, bye everyone.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.